Okay, thank you for the speakers in the first roundtable. As you see, we're in a hurry because we got a little delay. It's been interesting the things they talk about the startup village. Now, Hui Chao is going to be moderator again, and we have people to talk about tourism and sustainability in the startup village. We have Micaela Vieira, project manager of Nova Village, Ponta do Sol, Alexander Bergen, founder of Surf and Work, Vileika Tasanova, Change Scale, Daniel Suarez, president of Somiedo, and Mr. Chao is going to start all over with the second table. Thank you.
Hello. This session will particularly focus on the tourism and sustainability because this is some specific feature which village could focus on. I would like to have a brief introduction for our speakers for this session as well. Michelle Vieira. So, Michelle has a bachelor's degree in communication science and also a master's degree in management. Since October 2017, she has been closely working with startup Madeira as a project coordinator of Madeira Startup Retreat Acceleration Program for international travel and tourism startups. That during the last 5 editions has welcomed Madeira Island over 50 international startups and also 155 entrepreneurs from 37 nationalities. So since September 2018, she performs the duties of a project manager at Startup Madeira. Besides Madeira Startup Retreat, she has been attached to the project of Start Now, the Tourism Innovation Challenge, Startup Visa, and now the Digital Norms, Madeira Islands. So thank you to join us today. And also we have Alexander Benson, and he's the founder of Surf and Work from Denmark. So Alex originally from Copenhagen. He started the first business in 2012, being the first longboard brand in Denmark. Since then, all companies and projects he has either surrounded, suffering, and all things he found personal appealing and passionate about. For 7 years, he has lived in Varupol and also experienced the town from a place people would move from, now a place where people move to. So he's been in charge of a surf and work since the beginning, from 3 people to up till today, 35 people, mostly startups. Currently, he has focused on the 2 business projects. From 2017 till today, the project that he's the founder and also manager of Surf and Work. And also another project is from 2020 to today is he's the founder and the CEO of Wild Is, which is ice cream business. I don't know if you can try something today. But anyway, so thank you, Alex. Also, we have Vilishka Atonasova. So she's from Shingina Scala of Bulgaria. And also, Vilishka is working at the Startup Village Shingina Scala project coordinator since June 2022. And also before that, she was working as a plant preventative maintenance contract coordinator at Polytech Building Services, also working for Burgas municipality. So welcome, Village CUB, to join us for discussion today. Also, we have Daniel Somildo. Daniel is the CEO at Zappens. And also he's the president of a Spanish Association of Rural and Sustainable Entrepreneurship. So as the CEO of Zappens, this is a collaborative intelligence platform since 2017. Daniel is also the professor at Universitat de Oviedo since 2018, and to inspire future managers to lead by examples based on their purpose and values. So thank you to join this session today. And again, we are starting from the first question for each of you to provide 2 to 3 minutes. So then please first to share your experience about how do you see the challenges for innovation that you encountered in your project or in your village. So we start from Michelle. Thank you.
Everyone? Okay. So definitely, as I don't know if you know, but I'm from Madeira Island in Portugal. And we created the Digital Nomads Madeira Island project back in September 2020. At least the idea came up back then. And the biggest challenge that we found back then is that we knew that there were digital nomads, remote workers, that were going to Madeira even before COVID. But during the pandemic, when it started, we knew that some of them were going to Madeira as a safe destination so people can work from there, but there was lacking this information, official information for digital nomads. We're talking about accommodation, about rent-a-cars, about accountants, about visas, where should they work, working stations. So as we are part of the regional government of Madeira, for us, Startup Madeira was very important to be aggregating all the information. So we launched a website. We had a digital nomad since the very beginning, I guess, so Gonçalo. And from that moment on, we launched a website for this niche of market. We talked with a lot of people from the local community to educate them about who is a digital nomad, what are their needs. So when you will be arriving officially in Madeira, they knew in advance all their needs. So for us, it was very important to understand the challenges first. So first of all was information in one place, and the second of all was definitely finding all the solutions in advance to give them. So we created in this rural part of Madeira, we can call it that way, which is a tiny village, very beautiful, close to the sea, close to the mountains. And they have everything already from accommodation, cafes, restaurants. We just facilitated them with a free working space. And from that moment on, it has been such a beautiful experience. We have over 13,000 registrations from 129 countries, and at least 7,000 of them have been already in Madeira since last year working and living. So definitely a nice experience to see from ourselves what kind of opportunities there are in the market, as we want for the local private entities to benefit directly with this project and not, I mean, the regional government is totally fine by it, but being definitely the private entities.
Okay, that's very interesting, but this is also, we believe, the typical challenges for the villages, for the rural areas. Mm-hmm. You know, how to, gathering information, aggregate all the information together.
Mm-hmm, definitely having the right partners with us since the very beginning. We're talking about different aspects from the accommodation, talking in advance with the property management about who is the digital nomad, what kind of needs that they have at their house, because we're not talking about daily rates, we're talking about monthly rates, which is a bit different for them. So that even was, and it still is, an educational part, but that is quite big for tourism, especially now during the high season of summer, which is quite hard to find accommodation right now. But in the low season, it's more than okay to find accommodation monthly. But having this educational part with them since the very beginning is quite important to have a very positive impact in the end.
Okay, thank you. Now, Alex, please share your thoughts regarding the challenges and difficulties you experienced with.
Yeah, hello. yeah, I would like to underline that I believe that there's definitely more advantages being situated in a rural area where we are, and in general, because I think nature rocks, and there's much more nature out there compared to where I'm from in Copenhagen. But I talk more about that later. The disadvantages, like the team before accounted for, so mobility definitely is a huge problem. If you haven't got a car, where I'm from in Denmark, in the town of Vorupør, you probably never heard about it. If you haven't got a car, you cannot really get around. So either you have to have friends that has a car, or you have parents or whatever, because the bus services is like once a day. Go to the big city, which is even a small city compared to Copenhagen, etc. So as well as accommodation, we have 2 months at a year where we have a lot of tourists. And in those 2 months, it's really hard to find accommodation which is affordable. It's actually non-existing. But the other 10 months, it's easy to find cheap accommodation. But as a startup, or if you want to live in our area, you cannot only live there for 10 months. You have to have a permanent space, and that's a challenge. But also I would say that if you are a startup with big ambitions, it can be hard sometimes to find funding. Of course, you can, in our case, go to Aarhus or Copenhagen and participate in network and funding, investor meetings, etc. But access to local funds is good, but the local fund doesn't have that capacity and the same amounts as they have in the bigger cities. So we have a few cases of startups that has big potential. They were actually they left most of them for Copenhagen because that's where they have access to the big capital. So I would say that's also a challenge.
All right. Yeah. Obviously, that's very difficult according to your experience. So, particular, 2 months of a difficult period. Then how to solve that challenge? Maybe later you can also share some experience. So we move to Valishka. So can you also please share how?
Hello. Good afternoon. Yes, I have to reiterate the problems that my colleagues identified. First of them is the connectivity to the village. As it is located far from the city and you can only go by car. And though we have a coffee and a restaurant which could during the day you don't need to buy food or to go outside of the village to buy coffee. You need to go there every morning and go back home each evening. Going to the accommodation, we have a co-living space in the city quite near us, but it's only one, and as the colleague said from Surf and Work, we also have a tourist season which lasts up to 4 months, and during those months the accommodations prices are quite high, and it's difficult for a startup or even for a digital nomad to find a place to sleep and to work. Also, the mindset of the villagers in our village is quite strict, and we are trying to work with them so they could grow into realizing that through innovation they could make their lives better, and we are just in close communication with them to introduce the ways we are going to work, and that's bringing the startup ecosystem to the village would help their lives as well. Those are the 3 main difficulties.
Okay. I believe those challenges have been troubled you for quite a long period. Then we listen to Daniel. How do you experience?
Okay, from my point of view, I came back 4 years ago. I was running 8 years ago my startup, So I decided to put on 100% remote. So I moved to my parents' village and I started a small entrepreneurs village. And after 4 years, I think that the biggest challenge that we have is a little bit silly, but it's like the clean after the parties. Because right now in our village there are 20 people living, and in average, similar to you, in our case is 6 months per year, we are 40 people because we got 18 houses. And we're trying to design a business model with long-term entrepreneurs that take roots on the ground, and help them to be founded and receive some grants, and even maybe a 20 or 30% of people that are traveling, like nomads, maybe for short terms, 1 month till 3 months. And I think that the success case is to mix these both two worlds, because in one case you got the people that are having roots and they maybe are spending 2 or 3 years building new companies, and in the other way you have the people that makes that, like you are living in the village. One of the most valuable things for me is that you can travel without traveling, because you are having lots of people from different parts of the world. So, but in fact, I think that this cooperation mindset and cleaning mindset with these two kind of guests are, for us, the most challenging things, because it's like about education, even with these mainly young people, and it's thinking about autonomy and how you are going to run a startup if you are not cleaning after a party. As simple as that.
Okay, thank you. Those are really valuable experience. And also now it's the chance how, through your work or through your experience, how do you think the advantages or the benefits in your project or contribution to your villages? So we start from, again, Michelle, please.
So definitely the big advantage, if you look back to the beginning of the project, was definitely to boost the economy there in Madeira. I was during the COVID time, so it was, as we mentioned it very well, was seen by us as an opportunity. So definitely that, even for Ponta do Sol, which is a tiny village, so for them was very important to see younger people there just using the cafes, the restaurants, even the hotel, attending some networking sessions at the sunset at the hotel there, seeing even being spread to the neighbors cities, which is also rural. So for us, definitely that. But it has become even more than that. It's all about the social impact that it has been having, because these digital nomads that are going to Madeira, or remote workers, there's a difference there. If they decide to go there, they actually want to belong to the local community, want to learn more about the culture and the heritage about it, and sometimes they want to give back to the locals. And for us, that's very interesting. They have sustainable projects, they have social giving back, so they work with the orphanage, with the dog shelter, they walk the dogs. So for us, it's very interesting to see that. And of course, the sustainable impact that it has been having. We have a lot of tourists during the year, but during the slow season, that now is even changing a bit, we're talking about people that stay longer, from 1 to 3 months. So even for the local property management, for the hotels, for the rent-a-cars, it means that it's a more calm renting, more calm business. So for us, it can be a very interesting way to look in the future of a sustainable destination.
Okay, thank you. So Alex, since you experienced the change of the town you live in, it's Voropol? Yeah. So what's your experience regarding the advantages and benefits?
Yeah. So I'm a surfer. That's why we call our village Surf and Work, because surf is first priority and work is second priority. So that means that what I came for is a more balanced lifestyle, where I have greater access to surfing, but also to nature in general. So I quit my job in Copenhagen. I had an academic education, and my career was just taking off like all my other friends. But I actually wanted to be a little bit more in tune with nature. And I believe that's one of the great possibilities of rural Europe, or in general rural areas. So the area I'm living in now, Vorupør, I actually just moved there just to surf, and I ended up staying there, buying a house. My girlfriend moved with me, and we got a dog, and so I think I'm going to stay probably for the rest of my life, because I have access to a more balanced lifestyle in Copenhagen, where I'm from. So busy all the time, everything was, you know, about career and making money and etc. And I think my life has become less stressful. And I also see that's the advantage that people is looking for when they move to our area. As you stated, so 5 years ago people was moving away from the town, and now people is actually moving back in. The prices on the houses have increased by 100% within 5 years. It's almost too much, because now houses are getting too expensive. But for me, the balance between work and what I'm passionate for, surfing, nature, mountain biking, etc., I can find that in this area. And there's only 600 people in the town, so it's super, super small. But our neighbor is a national park with lovely nature. And I see that a lot of, especially younger people, they want to step away from a career or a rat race in the bigger cities, and have access to nature, more calm lifestyle, some sport activities, etc. And I believe that's a huge advantage what our area has, but I guess also what all rural European area has. I could go on forever about what I like about rural Denmark and rural Europe, but that's my main point.
Okay, thank you. It seems that's already very successful experience. Whether or not it can be duplicated, that's something maybe later on you can think about that. Now we move to Velishka, so please share your experience.
I would like to agree with Alex about the great advantages and benefits that the rural areas have. And our greatest benefit is that we have a strong governmental support, and through this project we could make a bridge between the academia, the private enterprises, and the government. At least this is our point. Through creating a co-working space where people could communicate and share ideas, we could help them into making their business idea realities by introducing them to the governmental support that they could have, and connecting them with the academia in the area, and thus doing that in a beautiful environment where they can also work and relax.
Okay, thank you. So Daniel, now it's your turn.
Yeah, I think it is the same. At the end, if you were working in a big city and you know what is stress and running all the day and don't think in yourself and don't feel your body, when you move to a peaceful area, everything starts to work better. As simple as that. All
right, thank you. I think those are really encouraging us. You know, the innovation in the rural, in the villages, will have the really bright future. But that requires everyone, you know, the key players to join together. So thank you very much for your participating today. Thank you, audience.